How's it going, everyone? It's Liam Caddiston here with another episode of Supernatural, as we are on episode number 13 of season 10. So yeah, it was quite wild that last episode, definitely peering into, like I said, the whole Hansel and Gretel vibes, and yeah, it was a very, very kind of nice, you would say, filler based episode. It was pretty fun stuff, especially getting to see younger Dean again, played really well, of course. And yeah, it was just a really fun episode to enjoy. So yeah, why don't we get into this episode of Supernatural? I'm looking forward to checking out this week's installment. So with that said, let's go.
Billy, I don't think this is the way to Taco Town.
What do you know? Your phone's 3G.
Wow! Wow!
Continue for 0.3 miles.
Your phone's 3G. What kind of insult's that?
Find a different route.
Proceed ahead.
Oh!
You go screw yourself.
Oh my god!
Get out of the truck.
Oh my god!
You know my name.
This is wild? Dead ahead. The sat-nav has a sense of humor, apparently. Oh my god, okay, that was fast. Get Tyler flashbacks from the Vampire Diaries. Just that quick shot, quick jump scare.
Which one of you is Janet Novoselic?
I am?
Agents Grohl and Cobain.
Grohl and
I already talked to the police like 9 times.
Damn.
It's just a follow-up. Yeah.
I have finals tomorrow.
You have to excuse my partner. When it comes to technology, he's a little behind. Just learned how to poke on Facebook.
Oh my god, that is so ancient.
Trini is the nav app we were using.
So the truck belonged to Joey.
Yeah. It was his pride and joy. Billy got it when he died.
But I don't think
You know,
Joey...
it's a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't think this is anything in relation to Joey.
So what's the thing?
You know the truck thing. You honored the deceased by driving their truck, saying they wrote a whole country song about it. Why don't you Google it?
He took that Facebook jab to heart. He took the whole Gen X thing personally.
All right. So we're looking.
You have to
for
have a
something that used
rebuttal.
to resemble a...
That's it. End of episode. Not bad episode. Bit anticlimactic. Hashtag selfie. Maybe hashtag dead in a moment. Oh my god. Just block them, maybe? They'll probably come back up. Like that. Oh my... No way. She's gonna get strangled to death, isn't she? It's like a snake.
You know we're federal agents, right? Lying to us is a big-time offense.
I'm not lying, Agent. There's just nothing else to tell.
What can she say?
And a cafe au lait for the lady, for me.
A heart attack?
Yeah!
This is unreal. Look at this.
Jesus Christ! And I thought I was bad!
Yourself, froyo. You can do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Have you got deleted, Dean? Yeah. What have you Googled?
It says Elsa 8. Yes.
Liar. I know you'll pay. Was Princess Elsa's a bitch? Was 810.
I guess she couldn't let it go.
That's what I'm thinking.
I said someone could have just hacked in, but we know there's something more in terms of ghosts and all of that.
The crime, just a little strange. Seeing as though they aren't dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, they look pretty lively for dead flowers.
It's not so strange when it feels like they're taunting you.
Oh.
My husband was killed in a car accident here 9 months ago.
He was cremated.
So no bones, and he's not tethered to any object that we know of.
That we know
How's
of.
Andrew haunting his victims?
Yeah.
You gonna eat all that?
Hey, you want some?
Fed's called. Like 3 times. I'll do something. I'm worried.
Delilah, stop. I'm serious. You better keep your mouth shut, or you're gonna have a lot more than a curse to worry about.
Oh my god, what a piece of shit! You know, there is a little bit of meta commentary here.
Was that you?
Nah.
What a tease.
Guy's getting catfished by a ghost.
Trying to study.
What the shit? What the fucking oi?
The car accident wasn't exactly an accident.
You know what? I think I'm kind of getting flashbacks to a
Dude, I just retweeted your tweet.
horror movie.
Call 911!
Oh my god! And they just left him to die. So it's, yeah, at 8:10.
I'm getting out of here before the cops come.
It's I Know What You Did Last Summer.
It's sort of what we do.
So, you're like Ghostbusters?
Sure. First things first, though.
They're not ghost faces.
Think about Andrew all the time.
Is that regret?
I've never even met the guy.
There's that remorse, doesn't she? You know, with the flowers and all of that, and yeah.
I've made more mistakes than I can count. Ones that haunt me day and night.
So, how do you deal?
Whiskey. Denial.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not a good combo, whiskey and denial, but whiskey itself is.
I do my best to make things right.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. You know, finding a way to ask for forgiveness. But not breaking the bank at your local florist. I mean, real forgiveness.
Because this is just gonna haunt her all her life.
Into a Wi-Fi tower right across the street.
So even ghosts are online?
Apparently. I mean,
Puts a new term of ghosting to meaning, right?
So, Andrew's ghost must have just hopped onto Trini, that nav app.
Yeah.
And sorority.
Oh yeah, sure, Sammy. We'll just kill the internet. Okay.
No, not really.
Video
Alright,
kill
so
the
now that
internet
I'm
star?
gonna do
Maybe?
it,
I don't know. Here we go. Oh no. Oof. There's gonna be some joke here about Max Headroom. I'm imagining. I was gonna say, could they not like slide the Wi-Fi option off like you can on your phone? But I guess they'd be locked out with the ghost of Andrew.
Romantic even. He'd send me love notes. We'd stay up all night reminiscing. But then
Oh, this would be so messed up
Started
though,
acting
like,
strange.
you know, 10 years later for this, I
That's
guess.
strange.
Especially
I
with
don't
the
know,
utilization of AI.
disappear, Andrew. What was I supposed to do? Call the cops and tell them the ghost of my dead husband was picking
Yeah,
off co-eds?
I think my husband's killing kids. Where is he? Well, he's in the Wi-Fi.
Mostly, if I tried to stop him, that he might go away.
I don't want to lose him.
And I didn't want to lose my husband again.
Again, it's Black Mirror. It's just outside the verges, especially with how attached she is.
So it looks like to me you got two choices. You could keep killing and become something that you won't recognize.
Look at Dean go.
Move
This
on.
speech.
I should have said this earlier, but I couldn't let go. But it's time
There we go, moving
for
on.
me to let go.
Oh, and the
And for
pain
you
in
to
his
do the same.
eyes.
Do it for us. Goodbye.
There we go. And he's moved on.
Looks like Andrew wasn't the only one who chose peace.
No.
Yeah, looks like.
It looks like sometimes peace is
I'm
indeed
gonna follow his lead
an
too.
option.
Just gonna give up. I appreciate the effort, okay? I do.
He just doesn't want to
But
get
the answer
anyone's
is not out
hopes
there.
up.
It's with me. Said and done. I'll go down swinging.
Damn, Dean. I mean, it's understandable why he's got a bout of acceptance there. I mean, of course, for Sam, it's gonna suck, isn't it? For him to hear his brother come to the idea that, well, are you just gonna give up and all that thing? It's not so much about giving. If there is a way, watch out, bud. If there is a way, he will take it. But he's not going to he has to start accepting in his mind, because if he starts relying on any kind of hope that might lead to a dead end and all of that, it's just going to drive him crazy. So he may as well start accepting things the way they are and come to peace with the mark. So, and that's it. With this episode, it's all about coming to peace with certain things that are going to stay with you. I mean, as damning as they may seem and all of that, yeah, you just got to think with, I think it was Delilah, she's like, there's nothing that's going to bring back Andrew, right? But she can, learn to forgive herself, and that sin's going to still be there, but she can be on a better path. And for Dean to live with the ultimate sin, of course, basically with the mark of Cain, should I say? Yeah. So, but it was. I especially found the second part of this episode to be very enlightening and very well done. First part was kind of standard, but it was still enjoyable. But I think the second part really, really shone. Especially with that, especially with Dean trying to bargain with the ghost as well, and Dean and Delilah's talk. But yeah, it was really, really great stuff. This episode. So yeah, like I said, very reminiscent of I Know What You Did Last Summer. So even like some of the reactions, like, "Oh, we can't tell the police. I'll get busted," etc. So yeah, but it was good stuff. Yeah, that was very reminiscent, of course, as I've mentioned just now, to I Know What You Did Last Summer. So yeah, I mean, it kind of played out very, very similarly. Yeah. Especially in regards to some of the, assholes and all of that, in regards to, oh, no, let's just leave him to die a very painful death and all of that, because I can't risk more shit on my shoulders, so let's just pretend nothing happened. And obviously some people's minds just can't do that, right? So, yeah. But I also really it was interesting, because this episode definitely was it felt like, I don't know, early days Supernatural in terms of the kind of a filler episode where, okay, it's very enjoyable and all of that, and yet it did have some very, very poignant moments, like especially towards the end. But it felt like I Know What You Did Last Summer, mix it in with Black Mirror, because I even said with how the wife was talking to her husband, and how it was like Andrew was still there. There was certain bits and pieces that no one else, like, you think it's just a prank, it's some sick bastard who's just trying to take the piss, and yet there are certain bits and pieces that Andrew would do. that no one else could. It's yeah, and it kind of feels like she is trapped in a sense in the idea that maybe she does want to move on, like with the flowers, for example. Um, but at the end of the day, it's like she can't. And not in the sense of you know, I do find it hard to. He's gone, and it still feels like he's here. He actually is there in a sense. And I think deep down she does want to try and move on, but she can't help but acknowledge the fact that Andrew is there, just in a ghostly format, and it's kind of giving you that Black Mirror vibe. I even think they did an episode. Was it the one that Haley Atwell was in? I think it was. So, yeah. And I was even saying it's a good job that this episode was like 10 years prior or some shit like that, because nowadays it would be really, really more messed up. It would definitely be a Black Mirror episode if you want to talk about AI and all of that. So, I mean, obviously he was channeling through different Wi-Fi devices and all of that, but it's just the way that he was Andrew communicating with his wife mainly is what prompted that concern, really, because like I said, because I mean AI is just crazy these days. So and I could definitely see them going down that route where it deepens even further, where he does it's like he's actually there. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was just very interesting as well, like with the I mean, just utilizing the Wi-Fi as a way for Andrew to punish his victims was a very interesting choice. I know some people might think, oh, it's kind of weird and all of that, even for Supernatural. I think it works. So, hey, it wouldn't be the first time that I've watched an episode of a show where Wi-Fi kills people, basically. Going back to Doctor Who, basically, there was an episode, it was Clara's first full episode. Well, that's a bit subjective, actually, because, no, it was actually Clara's first full episode, where, that whole shebang happened, so yeah. But, I think it does kind of work as well, in a sense. Like, especially there is this meta commentary about teenagers and this generation being so addicted, so glued to, technology with mobile phones and all of that. And, it's still an ongoing thing, of course, these days, with the likes of TikTok and all of that. So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, that was the little, that was the little meta commentary there in terms of that whole situation. So, yeah, but, yeah. I kind of liked, in a sense, the whole, I don't know, jab about Dean and the lack of tech skills. He does have tech skills, that's the thing. So, yeah, but I don't think he is as tech savvy as Sam is the little joke, and they gotta incorporate some kind of brotherly banter, right? So, yeah, about how Dean is so out of touch. So, yeah. So, but yeah, it was. I like I said, I felt like with the second part of this episode, it was after we went through the flashback mainly. So, because there were some really, really great moments, but again, I just couldn't help but think about how relevant it was to I Know What You Did Last Summer. So, and I think it was Delilah, the person that did survive and ultimately have guilt about it. I mean, it was really great to see her perspective on things, really, when it comes to the guilt and that staying with her and how she really wanted to tell, but the other assholes were like, you can't do that. So, and there is a lack of sympathy, really, for what happened to them. So, yeah. But yeah, you see with her at the end, she goes to confront the wife, and of course things are not gonna, obviously she's leaving flowers and all of that, and you try any means possible to try and um well, forgive yourself and express sorrow, but it's just not cutting it. So and this episode's a really really great way for her to find that inner peace, really. Because that's it, though. Peace is, believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, it can be an option, and it was definitely a theme with this episode. With the characters, like with the wife, of course, with how she ultimately yeah, she ultimately found the whole situation of being able to move on and telling Andrew like, we can't keep doing this, basically, and that you need to have peace and I need to move on. And so yeah, so that was really really important, because that was weighing her down. Like, you have all of these anchors, really, that's weighing down these characters. And for the wife, it was yeah, for the wife, it was, that anchor was Andrew himself, because of the fact that he was still a presence even after death, and there was that inability to really move on, because he was still here. So and for Delilah, there's obviously that anchor of being weighed down by the burdens of, obviously, the incident that night that killed Andrew in a very horrific death as well. So, so it was really, really great for her to find resolution, really. And maybe the wife. We don't know how the conversation went with the wife and Delilah, but it's a good point for her story to end on, where she's gone through growth, she's gone through this story, and there is this new perspective on things. And now, obviously, this might be a thing that is going to stay with her, and she there might be bouts where she might feel saddened with what happened. Same with the wife. Like, there are going to be bouts where she does miss him and wish he would come back. Like, if there's anything she could do to bring him back, she would. But yeah, but that's it, though. Like, in terms of ultimately finding, like, being accepting and all of that, it really really works well, because it works well for Dean's story as well, and how he talks about accepting the mark. And that obviously with Dean, there is that open opportunity. He's not actively pursuing any kind of hope. Kind of like how with Delilah and the wife's stories. There are going to be bouts where, oh, I wish Andrew could come back. I guess for both characters, because for Delilah, she wishes that never happened to Andrew. She feels so shit, as well as the fact that she feels so shit that she has to suppress what she really wants to do, and come clean about what happened that night. So yeah, but for Dean, there is this whole idea of, look, if there was hope to get rid of this mark, yeah, but I don't want to. That's an unhealthy habit itself. We go through all of the unhealthy habits that Dean has been tackling with, in terms of keeping the mark on the D-Lo. But in terms of dealing with the mark itself, it's very unhealthy for Dean to entertain the hope and the notion that, okay, well, this idea could work, because it's the hope that does kill you, right? And so Dean is trying to find alternatives to dealing with the mark, to make sure that he doesn't go berserk, and to kind of keep it grounded. And there is this idea, okay, well, Kane's lived it for so many years, what if he came to peace with it as well? And I do the same. I ultimately have to come to peace and accept it. I mean, it's there, and I don't want it to be there, but if there's nothing that I can do, then the best I can do is hope that my good day, like, I have a lot of good days ahead of me, basically, and there is that peace, really. So And the way that Dean deals with the mark is very, I can kind of relate in some sense. Like, there is no flick of the fingers in terms of, dealing with certain bits of depression, anxiety, all that jazz for me. And of course, I wish those problems would just wash away and all of that. There are going to be some days where it's just going to be, it's a bummer of the day, and I just want to, curl up in the bed and just switch off for the day. But there are like hope. There is hope in all of that in terms of trying to a few years ago. It was well, even 2 years ago I was in a very, very difficult place, and I do remember a lot more bad days than a lot more good days. So yeah, and I think in particular last year was, an ultimate push of because there is this whole thing of, again, you just can't switch off bits and pieces like depression, like anxiety. It doesn't just, you can't get over it or anything like that. It will stick to you, but you will have hope that you will have a lot of good days and all of that. And, especially in terms of having peace for myself personally, whether that be in the form of gaming, whether that be in the form of listening to Bowie, for example, even this little shit who was very curious about what's going on downstairs, but he can't go down because I'm talking about you. There are like bits and pieces that do keep me at peace and all of that. So especially with the fact that the world is a bit of a dire place at the minute and it's just all going to hell. So, and there's a lot of negativity and, but at the same time, I do want to have that happiness really that comes in my life, because I've had I'm in my 30s, and yes, it does sound like, but I for these past 10 years in particular, I know that there have been quite a few bad years, and even though there, like I said, some days still, even though I'm in a better light than I was 2 years ago, there are still going to be those difficult days, right? Where I just, like I said, want to curl up in the bed and just be like, yeah. But it's a work in progress, isn't it? It's every day is this hope that I can have a greater day and all of that, and I just hope to try and find peace in, like I said, whatever form there is. So yeah, but and for Dean, he was very, very it was really, really moving, and even with the ghost as well, even with Andrew, because he sympathized with him, but he even tried to negotiate him for him to find a good path. But for Dean to basically say just helping people, it puts him at peace. It puts him at, he has expressed guilt and hate, self-hatred and all of that. And again, not to harper on about my my own struggles and all of that, but I know a lot of the time, during my darker days and all of that, there is a lot of self-hatred. There is a lot of low self-esteem. I will have a lot of negatives to say about myself, because I view myself in a I don't like to focus myself positively and all of that, because there are some days where I'll just think, well, what great do I bring to the world, right? So but Dean's dealt with that self-hatred, that disgust, but he wants to help people. He wants to put himself in a better light, and that's it, though. You want to be in a very, very great mind space, really, when it comes to you know, even though you're dealing with with this darkness and all of that, you do want to be in a bit of a better light at the end of the day, and that's what Dean's trying to do by helping people, by, you know, saving them from the perilous situations that they are in. You know, that puts Dean in a bit of a peaceful mindset. So, and whether it's reacting, whether it's gaming, whether it's music, it puts me in a, you know, peaceful place because it's my zen and all of that. And it can be a great way to push forward through the darkness, and that's what Dean's wanting to do with his current darkness predicament that he's facing at the minute, because the alternative is, like, that's it though. He's not saying for Cass or for Sam or for whoever to pump the brakes in trying to find any kind of solution that gets rid of the mark. He just wants to come to peace with it, just in case there is no way, because focusing on a hope can be very, very damaging. Focusing on peace with living with the mark, with accepting it, and just focusing on the good that you could do as a person is a lot more of a healthy alternative, because that way, that is something that you can control. You can't, as I've said, I guess, you can't just click your fingers and just want the mark to just go away, right? And yeah, for Dean to be able to help people to you know, be the hero, be a good guy, it's something he can do. So it's something that he does have control over, and it's something that, you know, he can cherish. So it's great. But yeah, it was a really, really great episode. So yeah, I just really, really yeah, like I said, with the Wi-Fi concept, with the ghost and the Wi-Fi concept, as I said, I imagine that there are some people who might think it's a bit OTT, maybe. I don't know. I don't think it was. Like I said, especially with how you just got to think, when season 1 started, there wasn't as much hoo-ha with, you know, teens on their phones and all of that. I mean, there was gaining the gaining notoriety, but over the years, you know, that reputation has grown. You know, and so it's a good chance to, I guess, capitalize on the idea of that, and, you know, make a story where, okay, well, these kids could be very, very susceptible to this ghost. Of course, he was only targeting the one that was, yeah, but there is no place that's safe. Like, even Dean taking Delilah to the basement, and, you know, the phone was still there, wasn't it? It's like there is this inescapable path, right? So yeah, because technology is just everywhere. Everything requires a Wi-Fi connection these days. So and that was most of the victim's undoing, wasn't it? So like I said, not that you have sympathy really, but hey ho. Yeah, it was really good though. It was a really, really good episode. I enjoyed it. So yeah, obviously it's not going to be the standout episode of this season or of Supernatural, but it was still enjoyable for me, so I'll take that positive. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. You can check my videos on the right if you want to check out more of my content. You can also subscribe to my media feeds and channel if you want to. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Hope you guys take care, and I will see you guys next time. Toodles!